Behjabin, and today I'm going to explain the poem Cousin Kate, which was composed by Christina Rossetti. In this poem, the poetess presents a woman as the narrator who addresses her cousin Kate, who had married a man from a wealthy aristocratic family. This man had had an affair with the narrator in the past, but he had ditched her to marry the prettier cousin who is Kate. Now the narrator addresses Kate, telling her that her child born out of wedlock is the most precious gift that she had ever received. So this is how the poem starts. I am a cottage maiden, hardened by sun and air. So the narrator, the woman who is the narrator of this story, she says that she is a cottage maiden, an unmarried girl who has lived in a cottage, in a small house in the rural area, hardened by sun and air. That means she has been exposed to the natural environment ever since she was a child, contented, and she was happy, contented with my cottage mates. That means with the people who were living with her in the cottage. She was happy with that life. She was happy with her life in the cottage, with her family in the cottage, not mindful I was fair, and she was not aware of the fact that she was beautiful. Why did a great lord find me out? Now this is something she begins to regret. She says that I cannot understand why a man belonging to a higher status, why did this gentleman, why did this man from a noble family, how come he found me out? How did he discover me? How did he come upon me and praise my flaxen hair? And he praised my beauty, my yellow colored hair. And why did a great lord find me out? And why did this great lord find me out to fill my heart with care? And ever since I met this man, I began to know him, and our relationship started forming, and I realized that I was beginning to care for him. So the narrator begins to question this event. She is regretting the fact that she had met this man from a higher status, from a higher strata of society, and she is also regretting that she had fallen in love with this man. He lured me to his palace home. So this man, he attracted me. He lured me to his palace home. That means he took me to his home. Where, he lived in a palace, and he took me there, woos me for joy thereof, and he wooed me. He began to court me and shower his affection and attention on me for his own personal joy, for his own personal satisfaction. He started to enjoy my youth. He started to enjoy my beauty, to lead a shameless, shameful life. And as a result, being unmarried, the relationship that I began to share with him, despite my unmarried status, it led me to lead a shameless life, and also a life that gave me a lot of shame. His plaything and his love, and I ended up becoming his mistress, and he treated me like a toy, and he began to have a physical relationship with me. He wore me like a silken knot. He changed me like a glove. And then she goes on to say, the narrator says that he wore me. That means he bound me to him as one would wear a silken, one would tie a knot, a silken knot, and he changed me like a glove. And then after using me, he left me. He discarded me as one would discard a glove. So now I mourn, and now I am crying, an unclean thing. I have been made impure. have been made unchaste, who might have been a dove. If I had not befriended this man, I would have been as innocent as a dove. This is what the narrator tells. Now this woman, the narrator, she addresses her cousin and she calls her as Lady Kate. So it is understood that Kate is now belonging to a higher status in society. So, "Oh Lady Kate, my cousin Kate, you grew more fair than I." So narrator addresses her cousin and says that you grew more beautiful than me. He saw you, this great lord who had a relationship with me. He saw you at your father's gate, chose you and cast me by. And then he started showering his attention on you and he cast me by. He abandoned me. He watched your steps along the lane. He watched you moving around outside, your work among the rye. He saw you in the fields. He saw you busy at work at the farm while engaged in some kind of cultivation work. He lifted you from mean estate, and he lifted you from means from your ordinary position in life, from your humble positions. He lifted you from your humble origins to sit with him on high, and then he gave you a higher position in society, and you began to enjoy a privileged position in society because of your relationship with him. Because you were so good and pure, he bound you with his ring. And here the narrator goes on to say something deeper. She says that the cousin Kate, she was a pure person, she was a good person, and she did not respond to the attention of this great lord so easily, and she did not allow him to get physical with her, and because of this he bound you with his ring, and because of this he ended up marrying you. The neighbors call you good and pure, and now that you are a married woman now that you are married to this man and you have become a lady, the neighbors call you a good woman and a pure woman. They think you are chaste and pure, and call me an outcast thing, and they consider me as an outcast. That means a person, they have rejected me in the society, they have abandoned me. Even so I sit and howl in dust, and as a result I sit and cry. As I sit in the dust, I cry. You sit in gold and sing, and you are sitting in the lap of luxury and you sing. Now which of us has tenderer heart? You had the stronger wing. Now the narrator begins to question. She says that between us cousins, who seem to have the softer heart? The narrator means to say that the woman with the softer heart was the narrator herself, while the cousin Kate, had the stronger wing. That means she had the means to rise high in life. "Oh cousin Kate, my love was true, your love was writ in sand." Now the narrator says, she addresses her cousin Kate and says that her love for the great lord was genuine, it was true love. Your love was writ in sand, and your love did not seem to have a very lasting impact. If he had fooled not me but you, if he had fooled, instead of fooling me, if he had fooled you, if you stood where I stand, and if you had shared my position today, if you had stood where I stand today, he would not have won me with his love, and he would not have been able to attract me with his love, nor bought me with his land, and he would not have been able to buy me with his land, with his estate, I would have spit into his face and not have taken his hand. And I wouldn't have accepted his hand in marriage, and I would have spit into his face instead, because I would have done this because I would have seen how he had treated my own cousins so badly. So after treating my own cousins so badly, I wouldn't have considered him to be someone who deserved my hand in marriage, and so I would have avoided him. And then the narrator ends the poem. She says, while ending, she says, "Yet I have a gift you have not got." And then she says that I have something very precious, a gift that you don't have and seem not like to get, and there is no possibility that you would be blessed with this gift. For all your clothes and wedding ring, I have little doubt you fret. I can understand that you are worried. I can understand that you are anxious, that you are nervous, although you have so many beautiful clothes, rich clothes, and although you are a married woman and you have a wedding ring in your finger, despite all the security and riches that your marriage has brought to you, but you are still not free from worries, because you do not have that gift that I am blessed with. My fair-haired son, my shame, my pride. Now the narrator says that she is the mother of a son, and she has this son is her blessing, this son that she had got from her relationship with this great Lord. My fair-haired son, my shame, my pride, although he is the reason for my shame, because I have become a mother despite although I'm not married, I have ended up becoming a mother. So he is the reason for my shame, but at the same time I feel proud that I have a son in my life, and he clings closer yet, and I hold him to my bosom very tight. Your father would give his lands for one to wear his coronet. And one day she says that your father would give his lands for one to wear his coronet. So this is what she means to say, that she feels that her child would inherit the property of the great Lord, because he does not have a son. So there is going to be a point of time in the future when the great Lord would be giving his wealth to his son, although it was born out of wedlock, because this is what fathers normally do. Even Kate's own father would have given his own lands and property to a son if he had one. So it is the tendency of fathers to give away their belongings to their children. So although the narrator does not have a very happy life, just like the kind of life that Kate enjoys, but still she is hopeful that in the future her son would inherit whatever his father had, whatever his father owns. Well, that's the end of the poem. We'll meet you soon. Bye.